Alright, welcome to TEFL Professor's Whiteboard Grammar video on modal verbs. Modal verbs are really important. They have a lot of different functions in the English language, so really to move from that pre-intermediate or intermediate level to that upper intermediate level, it's really important to be able to kind of master modal verbs. We're going to discuss a lot of them today. You can see the list here: ability, inability, past ability, invitations, polite requests, past habits, deductions, possibility, prohibition, necessity and no necessity, permissions and orders, suggestions and advice. This is not comprehensive. As with all of these videos, for further reference and guidance, you can go to our website at teflprofessor.com. We've got lots of good modal documents and other things up there. We're also working on a modal quiz that should be available shortly. Just a quick overview of what we're looking at. Here are some of the most common modal verbs by function. You'll see a lot of them are used twice or three times. With can is a very common one. May and might, could, would, will. So we're going to go over all of these different types and show you exactly how to form the sentences, as well as what they're used for, the actual function of the verb. So we're going to start with ability, inability, and past ability. You can see the list here: can, able to, can't, unable to, could have, and was, were able to. So let's look at the first one. Alright, so Alex is learning English right now. As we go through these modals, I'm going to have a sentence on the right that kind of explains the context and the situation to help give you a better understanding of what we're looking at. So right now, Alex is learning English with Bill. He can speak very good English. He is able to speak very good English. These are both about ability, something that he can do. That as an ability is something that you learn or develop a skill. Can and able to, there's really very little to no difference between these. Able to is a little bit more formal. Can is a little bit more casual. Just like inability. So Alex lives in Moscow and never practices his English. His inability. He can't speak English. He can't speak very good English. He is unable to speak very good English. Again, very little difference between can't and unable to. The main thing is that unable to is a little bit more formal, used in writing. We can also talk about past ability, things that you used to be able to do but no longer can. That's the trick with past ability. These first two with could and was, were able to. These are things you could do in the past but can no longer do. Alright? So Alex lived in LA for almost 6 months. When he lived in LA, he could speak very good English. When he lived in LA, he was able to speak very good English. So these are things that he did in the past but no longer does now. We can also use could have. Could have, though, is used for a past ability or opportunity that wasn't used. Yeah? When he lived in LA, he could have studied English, but he didn't. So we're saying he had the ability to do it. He had that opportunity, that chance, but he didn't take it. So when he lived in LA, he could have studied English, but he didn't. So that last one is a little bit different from the could and were able to. Moving on, we're going to look now at suggestion and advice. We have could, should, would, ought to, and had better. With could, should, and would, we also have the have on the end that allows you to talk about them in the past. So Alex, again, forgot his girlfriend's birthday today, and his girlfriend is angry. Alright, so we want to make some suggestions and advice in the present tense. So what can we do to help Alex today so that his girlfriend isn't angry? Right? He could buy her flowers. He ought to buy her flowers. He should buy her flowers. He had better buy her flowers. So all of these are very similar. It's just a question of how hard the advice is, how strong the advice is. Could is very soft, ought to a little harder, should pretty hard, and had better is very hard. It means that's the strongest piece of advice that you can give. Another way we could say this is if we use would. And this is talking about how someone else would act. So, I would buy her flowers, or a good boyfriend would buy her flowers. We can use almost any subject in this particular case to show what someone else would do if they were in Alex's position. So we would just put subject, and then would, and then verb. Likewise, in the past, it's a little bit different. With almost all past modals, you'll see a couple of things. You'll see basically the have, and then you'll see a verb 3. So, Alex forgot his girlfriend's birthday last month. So this was a while ago. She was angry a while ago. Maybe she's not angry now. But we're talking about suggestions and advice in the past. Something that you would have done in the past, but maybe didn't do. So we say could have. Again, it's pretty soft, just like over here. He could have bought her flowers. He should have bought her flowers. Again, a little bit harder. And we can also use the same construction with would. I would have bought her flowers, or a good boyfriend would have bought her flowers. Yeah. So this is in the past. We just use this have construction. We don't use ought to or had better with have. So these two are actually out when we talk about the past, suggestions and advice. We're really only looking at these three. Moving on to permission and orders. We've got the verbs down here. May, can, must, will, is, and are to. So Alex's girlfriend is in control. His friends want him to go out tonight. So he has to ask for permission. Usually we talk about permission when it's a student asking a teacher, an employee asking his boss, a child asking his parent, but of course in some relationships, you know, the woman wears the pants in the family, so to speak, so sometimes you've got to actually ask for permission. So his friends ask his girlfriend, may Alex join us tonight? So you use this may. Now with permission, a lot of the times we're going to have questions you're going to see here, but we're also going to have some answers. Yeah, some answers to these questions. So, may Alex join us tonight? Alex may join you tonight. This means that she has given her permission for Alex to join you. Alex may not join you tonight. So actually, this lack of permission is almost like a prohibition, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it's a very polite kind of permission way to say this. And then can. Can Alex join us tonight? Alex can join you tonight. Alex can't join you tonight. So with permission, when you're asking if you can do something, if you're talking to your teacher, or you're talking to your mom or dad or your boss, you usually say, may I do something? Can I do something? Or if you're talking to a girlfriend. Orders. Now, orders is something that goes in the reverse direction. Yeah. Permission, we ask for permission, and then someone gives us permission, someone who stands above us, like a parent or a boss. Orders, the boss gives us an order. Yeah. So for orders, we use must, will, and is to. So Alex can go with his friends, but his girlfriend gave him a curfew. Curfew is just a time that you have to be home. Yeah. So Alex must be home by midnight. Alex will be home by midnight. Alex is to be home by midnight. And remember, with the is, are, am, it's going to change with the subject. Yeah. Am is a little bit less common because, of course, we don't give orders to ourselves. But is and are, very common. Next, we're going to talk about past habit. And there's really only two ways to do it, used to and would. So Alex smokes about 5 cigarettes a day now. A long time ago, he smoked many more. So today, every day, and his current routine, he smokes 5. But before, many months ago, many years ago maybe, he smoked a lot more than 5. So we say used to. Yeah, when he was in college, Alex used to smoke 30 cigarettes a day. Usually we need a time reference. When we use used to, it's actually understood that it's something that was true in the past but isn't true now. So if we're using used to, you don't always need the time reference, but it does help, especially when we're talking about we want to refer to a specific time. Would, we're always going to need a time reference. If you're going to use past habit and would. When he was in college, Alex would smoke 30 cigarettes a day. So we need the time reference and then would for this construction. Next is polite request, requesting something in a polite way. May, might, can, could, or will. So you want to smoke a cigarette, but you don't have a lighter. Then you see Alex. Alex smokes 5 cigarettes a day, as we talked about, so he obviously has one. We want to be polite. You might not know Alex, so these polite requests are done in formal situations with someone you don't know very well, something along those lines. So we say may I borrow your lighter? Or might I borrow your lighter? Can I borrow your lighter? Could I borrow your lighter? Can is a little bit less formal. Could is the more formal form between these two. May and might are basically the equivalent. And last, will you lend me your lighter? Will is a little bit unique in this polite request scenario because usually will is a request for someone else to do something. Yeah, will you please hand me that? Will you do something? Could, can, may, and might. Usually this is when I'm asking for permission or I'm asking for them to do something for me. Or may I borrow? May I borrow? Might I borrow? Can I borrow? Could I borrow? Next, we're going to look at prohibition, things that you must not, can't, may not, is, are not to, had better not. Alright, so Alex has an important dinner tonight with his girlfriend's parents. He wants to be on his best behavior and make a good impression. So he must not drink too much tonight. He can't drink too much tonight. He may not drink too much tonight. He is not to drink too much tonight. He had better not drink too much tonight. Remember with the is, are, am, then it's going to change. The to be is going to change whether it's I or you or they, something along these lines. Prohibition is obviously something that you cannot do. It's prohibited. There is a rule or a law against it commonly. In this situation, it's just something that he cannot do or really, really strongly against it because it's an important dinner with his girlfriend's parents. So these are all prohibition modals. Next one is possibility. May, might, or could. So Alex had a really bad day at work today. He's really upset. When some people are upset, they might go out and have a drink to let off a little bit of steam. We don't know that it's going to happen. That's why it's a possibility. All three of these, may, might, and could, are all about equal. It's about 50-50. We're not saying it's going to happen, but it is possible. So Alex may drink too much vodka. Alex might drink too much vodka. Or Alex could drink too much vodka. Again, none of them are stronger or weaker than the other. They're all about 50-50. We're merely saying that these things are indeed possible. Next one is invitation with will, would, or can. Alex runs into some of his friends on his way to dinner. They invite him to the bar. So when you're inviting someone, you're asking them to come do something with you or to meet you at a particular place. These are all invitations, of course, are always questions. So you're going to see all three of them. They have questions. Yeah. Will you join us for a drink? Would you join us for a drink? Can you join us for a drink? This last one here is a little bit like ability, but it's also an invitation. We're asking if you have the time, the availability, but it's also at the same time inviting someone to do something. So can is also used in this invitation context. Next is necessity and no necessity. With must, have or has to, need to, needn't, don't need to, don't have to. So Alex has drunk 13 glasses of vodka. That's a lot of vodka even for a very strong Russian man. So that's this is a necessity, things that he needs to do. Yeah, it's a necessity. He must stop drinking. He has to stop drinking. He needs to stop drinking. So these things are very strong necessity. Okay, remember he's got the dinner with his girlfriend's parents, and he's already had 13 glasses of vodka. So must, has to, needs to. And of course, remember with the has to, have or has depending on the subject. Now, if he's taking it easy and Alex has drunk only 1 glass of vodka, then we have the no necessity. And no necessity is different from prohibition. Prohibition means that you can't do it, that there's a rule against it or it's really ill-advised. No necessity means the choice is up to you, right? He's only had 1 glass of vodka. Strong Russian guy can have a lot more than that. He doesn't have to stop drinking. He needn't stop drinking, or he doesn't need to stop drinking, right? So he's only had 1 glass. He doesn't have to. He can if he wants to. It's up to him, but he doesn't have to. There's no obligation one way or the other. With necessity, there's the obligation to do something. Yeah? With no necessity, there's no obligation to do or not to do. The choice is with the subject. Yeah. And the last one is deduction and past deduction. You can see must, may, might, and could, and they all have the have construction. So Alex can't walk right now. We're talking about this moment in time. So he must be drunk. This means that you are very sure. When we use the must in this deduction frame, it means that we're almost certain, 95% sure. The reason he can't walk right now is that he must be drunk. The next 3, may, might, and could, these are all a little bit more not sure. They're more softer. Yeah, he may be drunk, he might be drunk, he could be drunk. There's other explanations. Maybe he hurt his foot, maybe he's tired, maybe he's sick, something like this. With these bottom 3, we're not really sure if he's drunk or not. There's other possibilities. With must, we're almost definitively sure. It's a 95% chance that we know the reason. So all of these things take the same exact form, but we just use have to put them in the past. Alex couldn't walk last night. So we're not talking about now, we're talking about last night. This is the day after. He must have been drunk. Now remember, when you use the have, you're going to also use the verb 3. So he must have been drunk. He may have been drunk. He might have been drunk. He could have been drunk. And again, with may, might, and could, they retain the same not sure possibility, where must retains that very sure possibility for this one. So that's all the modal constructions that we're going to go over today. If you have any questions about any of these, please don't hesitate to email us or contact us. Look on our website, TEFLprofessor.com, if you have any other questions about modals. If you want a particular whiteboard made as well, please don't hesitate to send us an email and ask us or tell us about a grammar topic that you want to learn a little bit more about. Thanks a lot, and keep speaking English.